distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As an Assistant Governor of the Central Bank of the Philippines and the head of the Philippine Islamic Finance Coordination Forum, it is my pleasure to share with you our journey and story in developing Islamic banking and finance in the Philippines, what we have achieved so far, and our vision for its growth beyond borders in the coming years. The Philippines holds a unique place in the history of Islamic finance, as it is home to one of the oldest Islamic banks in the world, the Al-Amana Islamic Investment Bank of the Philippines, which has been there since 1973, or more than about 5 decades ago. This information reflects our early recognition of the importance of Sharia-compliant banking for promoting inclusivity and serving the needs of our population. However, despite this pioneering start, Islamic banking in the Philippines has not gained traction, and its full potential has not been fully realized. For decades, it has remained constrained by legal and regulatory limitations, because under the general banking law of the Philippines, Islamic bank was exclusively tied to Al-Amana Islamic Investment Bank. And so we cannot allow other players to operate in the Philippines. For so many years, for 5 decades, we cannot allow other players, Islamic banking players, to operate in the Philippines. The year 2019 marked a pivotal moment in our journey of Islamic banking and finance in the Philippines, because it is in that year when the Islamic banking law was enacted in the Philippines, and since then, everything has changed. This landmark legislation has not only laid down the foundational reforms for Islamic banking in the Philippines, but has also empowered the Central Bank of the Philippines to issue a broader set of regulations that aims to provide level playing field for Islamic banking in the Philippines. The aim of the government is to establish an Islamic finance ecosystem that can viably operate alongside the conventional banking system. And so, with this legal framework clearly in place, the central bank has been very diligent in building and enabling and supporting regulatory environment that allows Islamic banking system to operate alongside the conventional banking system. In fact, in December 2019, or about 3 months after the enactment of the Islamic banking law, the central bank has issued 2 key implementing regulations, the licensing framework and the Sharia governance framework, basically to inform potential investors to come in and to convey to them the requirements of the central bank in allowing them to operate in the Philippines. And recognizing the need for coordinated strategy, the central bank created and led the creation of the Philippine Islamic Finance Coordination Forum, which aims to ensure that parallel and complementary initiatives are undertaken by different regulatory agencies and institutions. The Islamic Finance Coordination Forum, which is chaired by the Central Bank of the Philippines, is composed of 12 member agencies, which includes our Securities and Exchange Commission, the Insurance Commission, the Philippine Deposit Insurance Commission, and the Bureau of Internal Revenue, among others. And so this is, even the Asian Development Bank was part of the Islamic Finance Coordination Forum. We have also involved the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards Council and Auditing and Assurance Standards Council, because we have recognized that there might be a need to change some of the accounting and auditing standards as well to better accommodate Islamic finance in our financial system. And so we have also recognized that if we want to establish a viable Islamic finance ecosystem, we also need to develop not only the Islamic banking, but also the Islamic capital market, as well as the insurance or the takaful industry. And allow me to convey some of the key milestones. For example, our Bureau of Internal Revenue has also issued the regulations that provide tax neutrality to Islamic banking products in 2020. So right now, that issuance has declared in gist that Islamic banking products should not be taxed more heavily nor more lightly than their conventional counterparts. So now we don't have tax differentials between conventional and Islamic banking products in the Philippines. The Insurance Commission has also issued a guidelines on takaful that has led to the issuance of a takaful operator licenses to Pru Life Insurance, as well as Etika. And our Philippine Deposit Insurance System is designing to establish a Sharia-compliant deposit insurance scheme to complement the growth of Islamic banking in our country. Additionally, the Philippine government has also established a Sharia Supervisory Board. And this is very important because as we achieve critical mass of players, we need to have an institution that can provide opinions on whether certain products being offered by Islamic financial institutions are Sharia compliant or not. And we have no less than the chairman of the Bank Negara Sharia Advisory Council, who sits as vice chairperson of the Sharia Supervisory Board in the Philippines. Capping this milestone this year is the entry and grant by the Central Bank of licenses to 2 new Islamic banking players, namely to Card Bank Incorporated and to Maybank Philippines. You see, we have a very flexible approach. We allow both full-fledged and Islamic banking windows. These 2 licenses are for 2 Islamic banking windows. You all know that Maybank Philippines, it's a domestic corporation in the Philippines, but it's a fully owned subsidiary bank of Maybank Malaysia. Card Bank is a large conventional bank in the Philippines. And I have mentioned about the grant of Takaful operator licenses to PruLife UK and Etika Life and General Assurance Philippines Incorporated. And this development has expanded the range of Islamic financial services available to our population, but has also demonstrated the readiness of a regulatory framework to accommodate diverse market participants. On the capacity building front, the central bank has partnered with international organizations like the Asian Development Bank, the Islamic Financial Services Board, of which the Bangko Sentral is an associate member, the Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, and the Islamic Banking and Finance Institute, Malaysia, to co-organize various capacity-building initiatives because we understand that we need to equip our practitioners with basic knowledge on Islamic banking and finance. Even internally, the Central Bank of the Philippines has launched its own e-course on Islamic banking and finance because, of course, we also need to equip our own staff in regulating Islamic banks and Islamic banking windows. With this number of milestones, I can confidently say that together we have developed an ecosystem supported by well-calibrated regulatory framework and a progressive approach to expanding the financial inclusion agenda. You see, about the most excluded region in the Philippines is the southern part, where most of the Muslim populations are residing. About 92% of the cities and municipalities in that area have no banking presence. While the central bank, in conveying with different stakeholders, we always highlight the fact that Islamic banking and finance is for all, whether Muslims or not Muslims. But of course, the natural beneficiary of these initiatives are the Muslim Filipinos who have been deprived of accessing Islamic banking products in our country. It's about time that, the products being accessed in our neighboring countries are also made available to our Muslim Filipino brothers and sisters. Our vision is beyond merely expanding the financial inclusion agenda. We aim for Islamic finance to become a key instrument for fostering inclusive and sustainable economic growth that will, at the minimum, address the long-standing financial requirements of a significant segment of the population. Now, you may ask, is there a demand for Islamic banking in the Philippines? We all know that Philippines is not a Muslim nation. Only about 10% of the population are Muslims. To answer that persistent question, the Asian Development Bank, the ADB, has commissioned a report entitled Unlocking the Potential of Islamic Finance in the Philippines. And based on that report, it provides a compelling case that there is indeed untapped market for Islamic banking and finance in the Philippines, not only among the Muslim Filipinos, but also from non-Muslim Filipinos. That report is available publicly. You can actually access it in the ADB as well as in the Central Bank website. We will continue to work in collaboration with the stakeholders to build a strong ecosystem that supports the development of Islamic finance on multiple fronts, from education, capacity building, through infrastructure, by fostering strategic partnership, sharing knowledge, and investing in the necessary framework, we can create a thriving ecosystem that is grounded by transparency, fairness, and social impact. The journey towards building a vibrant and resilient Islamic finance sector is a collective effort. But of course, our government has recognized that it is about time that we support the development of Islamic banking in the Philippines. Together, we can lead the way to a transformation path that brings the benefits of Islamic finance to more Filipinos and that strengthens our national economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to read that report coming from the Asian Development. Thank you very much for your time and attention.